Well, yeah, I was going to say there's definitely a market opportunity here, and I think that probably the technology platform for it will be OpenID, and I think there's lots of different folks who should be looking at that opportunity to be an identity provider, and doing it just purely as a web service is obviously fraught with all of the challenges of we don't really have a fundamental deep relationship with the user. On the other hand, the carriers are in a great position. As my buddy Joseph Smar said the other day, having a $100 a month billing relationship is one hell of a CAPTCHA. So, you know, the ability to say, I know that this person is real, they're paying me $100 a month, and with the portability of identity via OpenID, as more and more companies are becoming either a provider or a relying party for that, I think there's something interesting there.
Yeah, one of the things I put out is that right now, what's your identity going online when username is password? It's oftentimes your email address. It's unique to you. What's another key? Your mobile phone number. You know, this is very, very hard for anybody else to have. Phone numbers are very unique to
in Europe, I believe Orange has become basically let all of their customers have an OpenID. And I think the problem they were trying to solve is, given that they have a portal and they have partners who want presence on the portal and want to interact with those end users, having a single sign-on allows them to offer Orange customers a discount, or to at least know who they are and be able to interact with them without having each one of them to create a new username password pair.
Mm-hmm.
I had a second question that's
okay.
If I can. So I just quickly went to Google Friend Connect and found out that there's several types that I can sign up as, either as a developer or a site owner or whatnot. Is there a category that you intend or that you would hopefully create as for API providers, folks who manufacture or create platforms and have their own APIs to provide access to, let's say, a certain black box of functionality like telephony. You know, so, you know, if I have a platform that I have exposed basic building blocks like SMS, conferencing, you know, all kinds of features, functionality that's maybe not germane to social networking, but that can be exposed to social networking. And can I sign up as an API provider?
Okay, so for now, no, because Friend Connect is really about bridging the social graph, like connecting social graph providers like Plaxo, for example, to these OpenSocial applications. So OpenSocial applications are developed by this developer participant. So for now, that's not the focus. We could imagine to have, in the context of this more, of this broader distributed web that I've been painting before, in this vision, you could envision having a product that does that, but I don't even know if you need that. Because an OpenSocial application developer who would want to leverage your SMS sending service could do that through regular web services. Yeah, as a mashup. So in their application, they can use whatever web services come from the outside and use the OpenSocial ID that comes from the social graph provider through OpenID. Actually, Friend Connect is using OpenID as a token on your side to let them access to their protected resources.
But let's say I have a platform that provides metered access to somebody's network, let's say a carrier's network, right? So if you wanted to make free calls to the UK, can I, you know, is there an incentive model or some sort of a model that I can plug into this large community of developers and let them use my platform to connect friends together? I mean, because Friend Connect in the social networking way seems like it's just connecting on the web, right? But friends do talk to each other in other ways than the web.
So actually, what you're interested in then is not Friend Connect. What you should be interested in, and I think for voice application especially, actually there are two aspects. The first aspect is to bring voice capabilities to these OpenSocial applications that either run in the context of the social network or in Friend Connect, which is just another type of context of social network. The other aspect that's pretty interesting and that will start to be developed in the next 2 to 3 months when the REST API is implemented by containers is that you will start to be able to do some mobile application that leverage the social graph from the mobile device. And I expect networks like carriers to start building application, because there's a lot of information that carriers have about the user where they could help them get more social. Carriers could become an open social container by themselves. Like the user have all their address book on their cell phone. Sometimes they're on the network already. All the information about who you're calling very often could let carriers offer to their users the strengths of the links in an implicit way, like they could pre-fill the network for you.
Yeah, like my top call network.
Exactly, and then they could offer that to other third-party application developers. What OpenSocial codifies is the API to get access to this data, but then anybody can implement that. All the carriers are free to implement it, and I expect there will be a lot of interest from them.
Yeah, actually, just to add to what Patrick is saying, so what you're talking about is building actually a horizontal layer across any network. You can do it. So you could provide a horizontal layer that does SMS, or that provides, PIM data, and any application developer or any social network can access it. And you just have to figure out a way to monetize it. So, for example, an incentive could be, I think I see a company called Frango, I think, which does, it does SMS notifications for a lot of applications that are being built on social networks. So, and they try to monetize it through ads or by charging application developers for SMS notifications.
And let me just add, getting that idea to the developers of all the top social networks is relatively easy to do. We all have developer community groups and ways to get the word out to people. So if they're interested in what you're building as that layer, you can find them pretty quickly.
I just want to tap into a question that you started raising, was asked by the audience from Eric. What about voice? So we talked a little bit about voice applications inside social networks. So for you two in particular, and John also to an extent within Plaxo, what kind of voice applications are you seeing? There aren't very many today. What do you think needs to happen for these to develop? And what do you think the future of these look like? How do they work inside your social networks versus somebody just calling?
Sure, I'll kick this off. So Friendster, social networks in general are asynchronous forms of communicating. That's how they started. That's why they took off. Is you have about a dozen core features where you can express yourself, share, communicate through your profile or the features, and people around the world or in a different city can come check in a couple of hours later and get that information and reply. So only in the last year or so, instant messaging, synchronous communication really has started becoming part of social networks, and we have yet to see voice really take off in social networks. But I think that's coming. So, for example, a lot of the top voice over IP companies here in the States and around the world advertise on Friendster. I just saw two of the ads last week, actually. So, voice over IP companies are advertising on social networks to reach out to our users, and part of the reason is social networks like Friendster and High5 have dispersed geographic global networks. 79% of Friendster's members have friends in more than one country. So think about calling, think about travel, think about all the ways you can monetize a massive network with people in different countries. So, voice calling is on the way, and I think plugging in is just a matter of introducing a brand and an offering into the network, and that can be done through the developer programs. Applications, voice applications are starting to take off. Group chat, IM, instant messaging are certainly taking off. So it's just a matter of time, I think, for that to build.
Layer again of the communication layer.
Yeah, so just to add to what John said, definitely, we have High5 as global social communicators on High5, and they have friends all over the world. And the problem that raised was it's asynchronous communication. At any given time, how many of your friends are actually online at the same time? That would really enable, if there were a large number of people, then it would really enable voice to be very strong application. But unfortunately, we see about 5 to 10% of your users if your friends are actually online at the same time you are. And the sessions tend to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time. So with the voice applications, we saw start with people could leave messages, and that was like the first phase, and now people are trying to get into real-time communication. And that's why I think the group voice chat is probably a stronger application to develop.